Well, Shyloh, I think you had everybody terrified with your Aiden story.
Everybody was like, whoa.
It's like, is that your only supernatural encounter, or what you think it is?
Everything pretty much happened in that house, though. Like, my mom saw a little girl standing in the doorway, and she thought it was me. She was like, "What are you doing? Go back to bed." But she had long braids, and she was like maybe my height now, but I was 4. And she had like a checkered dress on, and I was still asleep, so it wasn't me at all.
Nope. Either that or you just had a whole bunch of people breaking into your house and it was really weird. Either way, creepy. So with the show, how much, like, what's the balance between, say, horror and comedy? Like, is it more of horror or is it more of comedy?
I would say it's more comedy, but I would introduce a third aspect of it. We actually had a lot of dramatic moments. I think that'll surprise people. There's a lot of brother and sister. Let's talk about how our parents passed away and how we're dealing with it. And there's love triangles going on and drama and all that fun stuff. But we tried walking the line of, we're going to make a joke, we're going to turn around and scare you, and then hopefully after that you're like, oh, I really want these two to get together. And then aliens that start abducting people. And we just go back and forth the whole time.
I would love to hear about the origin of the specific story, and like, the brother-sister angle and kind of how that came about and what inspired the story.
I'll try and talk for Michael. Unfortunately, the co-writer is not here right now. But he'd always been fascinated with ghost hunting stories, and he was upset about those. I think it's Ghost Adventures. Don't quote me. The guys like Ed Hardy, Mo Waring. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. And he was like, I wanted to tell a real ghost hunting show. Most of the scripted ones get so broad and so over the top, and I'm not naming any of them because I watched all of them. But he just really wanted this grounded story, and the best way was, a sibling relationship to really ground it and going through the same loss, and what would an older brother do to help his little sister? He would hire crazy people, and they all come together, and they all have their own quirks and their different, POVs on every case they have, and that was the conflict, which is what we need in a show.
So in the trailer that you guys showed us during the panel, there was kind of the hinting there at alien abduction and kind of moving a little bit also beyond the paranormal. Is it safe to say there's going to be more things than just ghosts, perhaps?
Yes, yeah.
Aliens, zombies.
Paranormal was, I guess, the best term we could use. I mean, we do have a sorority girl who's very poppy, gets possessed by a demon. And there was some fun stuff with that. The aliens and the redneck family, the aliens abducted their dog, which is why they hire them.
That's so funny, those guys.
But then in the pilot, it's actually a lesbian couple and their bigot father who's haunting them. And it's kind of about trying to figure out. So like I said, we had the drama. We're not afraid to go into that realm. But we have a lot of heart on the show, comedy and scares.
So this is a dead bigot father?
He is dead. As one of the characters said, he's poltergeisting them.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Well, would this show be possible outside of a platform like Geek and Sundry? It seems like Geek and Sundry gives you like a lot of latitude just to go, crazy.
Yes, they were a great network for us to be on, but the format and what our team brought to the show and everyone came together. I mean, you could easily turn on Comedy Central or NBC. We could be on that lineup. Like, it's a half-hour format we followed with commercial breaks and A, B, C runners. It's very serialized also.
Was there any inspiration by what I believe is a great film by Robert Zemeckis, The Frighteners? Because that movie, I believe, did a great job balancing comedy, though a little slapstick at times, and kind of that horror aspect that, like, what's going on? What's this thing killing people?
Oh, absolutely. Michael J. Fox, all the way. Yeah, that poster was the creepiest thing, and he turned it on. It was like, oh, this is funny and creepy, and that's what we tried doing with the show. Like I said, with Trick or Treat and Warm Bodies, Shaun of the Dead. I mean, that's where we want to live in that realm. And we're trying to figure out how do we bring zombies into our show without getting too crazy, but they're hot right now.
Zombies are so hot right now.
So hot.
Totally.
So hot.
Nothing hotter than a zombie.
Oh, yeah. Nicholas Hoult was a very attractive zombie in Warm Bodies.
This is true.
It's very true.
We can't lie.
He may have been the exception, though.
Okay. That's fine.
What is each of your favorite horror film that you've ever, all time? I don't know if you guys want to go like
Fine.
one by one.
Shiloh, your
Yeah,
autobiography.
Shyloh, you go first.
I don't know.
Oh, it's fine.
Horror movie of all time.
Does
I
Jaws,
know I'm gonna
Jaws
think of
count?
this later and be like,
Oh, Jaws.
I know. I want to say a really
Jaws.
cool answer.
Jaws.
Yeah,
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't go in a pool if it was
Yeah.
big enough to hold a 40-foot shark. I was like, well, I could lay down there. Even if I was in the tail section, it still could fit a shark, and there's no way I was going in there.
That's kind of a monster, yeah. That's what got me into movies and this whole art. I remember Jaws it's probably because it was traumatic. But,
God. It's all right there.
yeah, I'll keep thinking.
I think the original Halloween, like is it John Carpenter? Is that the name?
Yes.
I think that because it's like that could happen. This dude walking down the street, like watching you from afar, like that's actually doable. While a shark, I'm like, yeah. I don't know if a shark's gonna chase me.
Says the Australian.
Says the Australian. But I actually feel like a dude with a mask with a gigantic knife from the kitchen, like that's a doable moment.
It's pretty doable.
In my
Yeah.
foreseeable future.
Oh man. I don't watch horror a ton, but I mean, one of my favorite movies is Alien. I wouldn't necessarily consider that.
Oh, totally.
I mean, yeah, but it's
There's some
awesome.
scary
There's some really
moments.
scary moments in that. I really like this other movie that I don't know if it would be considered horror, but it is very scary. Night of the Hunter.
Wow.
It's like
Someone went to
40s.
film school.
no. I'm not trying to be like, ooh, I like this really old black and white movie,
But it is a really good
it's
episode.
Like,
so
Rebecca, it's the
good.
scariest movie ever.
No, but I saw it. Someone told me to watch it recently, and I was like, oh, okay. And actually, someone got it for me as a present, and they're like, you're really gonna like this. And so I watched it, and it was so scary, and I loved it. Yes, I'd probably pick those. I don't
That's
know.
a
I
good
know
one.
tonight I'm gonna be like, why didn't I say
I know.
this movie?
Yeah.
Because it's my favorite movie.
Can we,
It's my favorite horror.
can we text you?
We'll get back to
We'll
that.
text you tonight.
So what was it like actually doing a half-hour show in the web series world? Because it's such an unusual thing at this point still.
We originally were trying to craft it where we would split the midpoint and be 8 episodes and to try and be more in the 12, 13-minute structure. And at the end of the day, Felicia, Jason, Brian, we were all talking about it. And we're like, you know what? Why not just make it a half-hour show? It is a half-hour show. Don't split it just because people have done that before. Like, just present it as you can do real television just on the web. I mean, Hulu, Netflix. I mean, the web is huge now. So we tried stepping up to the plate. Not saying we're House of Cards or anything, but we tried.
One of my biggest things when I get into any sort of TV show is the story. Like I don't really like. I mean, obviously the entire package together. But if the story is not there, I probably could have cared much less about the show, no matter how good the acting is, that kind of stuff. So I've seen certain web series that try to do like be funny and do this, but don't really have like an overarching story and don't really set themselves up as like one-off episodes. How does Spooked work? Like, is that going to be like connected? Is it going to be like, are they going to be one-offs? Like, this is a new adventure for the new client. This is a new client, or do they all have like interconnecting storylines somehow?
There's definitely like an overarching narrative, and like I think, you know, when Richard approached it was very important for him, especially my relationship with my little sister, and like that's definitely a very important, you know, dramatic relationship. And then there's like a little interesting thing with us three. So there's definitely those overarching narratives that you're used to in, you know, in the good shows on television. Have those, you know.
And every episode is still a case of the week. You know, it has a procedural element of this is the poltergeist, this is the alien, this is the demon. Insert whatever thing we're going to have in future episodes. And so you can jump in at any point and still follow along, but the arcs of what all the characters are going through are totally different. And we do have Easter eggs planting hidden relationships that might not be popping up right away that you have to look for. But there are secrets and fun stuff that made it as serialized as we could.
This is 4 episodes?
Yes, 4 episodes.
And is there so what's to get more? What do you have to do? Watch?
Yes, please, all of you, June 4th, come watch the pilot. And we're on every Wednesday, subsequent Wednesdays after that, and it's on Hulu and the Geek and Sundry channel. You can watch them. And yeah, I'm just tune in, like it, say really nice things
Share
in the
it.
comments,
Tweet.
give it to
Tweet
your
it,
friends.
Instagram it, Vine it. What else is there?
There'll be something else by
I'm
then.
sure by then.
Was up?
Snapchat.
Is there a was up that you introduced me to today?
That was just a joke.
What was the one you told me? Oh, it's like writing.
What's up would be hilarious.
That's 100 on that.
Yeah, we've definitely been talking to other outlets about where the season 2 would go, and we've already started talking to Finance Series about it.
Earlier, somebody mentioned doing like a half-hour, TV-like show on the internet. But in all honesty, I've noticed a lot of people are going the internet route. Has that allowed you with more of a freedom to kind of do what you wanted to do, working with Geek and Sundry, allowing you more freedom than had you tried to pitch this, say, to like a network or like anything?
I mean, for like R-rated or how much blood we have or nudity in language, no, we didn't want to push that because the brand, it would be really weird if it's like, what is it, Skinamax, and you're watching on Geek and Sundry. It just wouldn't make sense.
Demon. nudity.
But I mean, like I said,
Demon nudity, that's right.
we didn't have like residents of, oh God, I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth, states that I don't want to list who might not tune into a pilot about a lesbian couple and their father doesn't like them. Like Felicia was like, no, do it. Don't hold back. Tell the story you want to tell because we can. We're not, stuck with viewers that were worried about getting 10 million views and who's going to call in the Comcast and be pissed at us. So it was nice to have that freedom.
Actually, because I do appreciate that there seems to be like a very gender balanced cast and like diversity in the cast. Is that something that you're trying to consciously do? Because it seems to me that horror is very like there's a lot of skinny white teenagers and like the token black friend and like they're running from stuff but it seems like this show is very like trying not to be that. I don't know if that was a conscious choice or if it just kind of fell together that way.
Can I say both? It was, when you write it, no one in the script was like, oh, they have to be this gender. Gender, yeah, but ethnicity. But in the audition process, when everyone just kind of came together, we were obviously like, we didn't want to have an entirely white cast to just be that. We're on the web, we're not stuck having to make sure 25 million people tune in, and if they don't like some aspect of the team or the content or the clients, we're like, no, we're just whoever's right for the role, got it. And it was nice to have that freedom.
So since you're doing paranormal stuff, how did like special effects and those types of things work into the show in any way?
A lot of practical effects that Visual Effects was very kind to help polish for us. Especially in the Alien episode. That one, we have crop circles as you saw and alien lights and ships and other things, but we balanced it. Everyone did a good job. I'm not a fan of green screen. We didn't do a lot of that. I wanted the actors to be in the space and the present to actually interact with everything. Mm-hmm. So we just used it as let's get it all practically and get it on film. And then at the end, visual effects was just a nice, sprinkle some glitter on it.
So, ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
You guys mentioned that Derek's going to be doing a lot of referencing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you guys are going to draw from Felicia's background or from the Bad Hat Harry background in terms of those references. How you guys are planning to do those?
Both. We tried, like I said, walking the line of what our different brands and things we had done. Is where we were really happy to combine and have a collaborative process in what we made to attract both audiences. Elliot's character that Derek kills has everything from like Jurassic Park references.
Yeah, a lot of
to
movies and pop culture type of TV show, Buffy.
songs. You do some dancing. It's kind of all over.
Is there more?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Spoilers.
So, personally, do you, regarding your characters in the series, because it seemed the way it was presented. Obviously, I haven't seen the show yet. It seems like the rest of the characters kind of do this because it's like, oh, hey, we can do that. And the one most legitimate character was the character
Piper?
Yes, Piper.
Yeah.
And do you guys feel that your characters are doing this because, oh, hey, we can make money? Or do your characters actually believe in what they're doing?
Take it away.
In your own opinion.
Well, I think there's like, we've all got our own like for me it is about kind of getting my sister to communicate again because she's gone silent since the death of our parents. But then you come to the table with a very different objective.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us as a team sort of, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think, you know, we're all coming from the place of you know, we want to help people with whatever paranormal problem that they're having. And I don't think we're all in this for money, or else we probably wouldn't be doing, you know.
No, we're the cheapest.
We're the cheapest. You know, we're the cheapest, so
We're
I
the
think it's
cheapest
just like,
team.
hey, we may be the cheapest, but we're actually here to help, you know. And I think we're all in it to help, you know. I don't think it's
Yeah. And it's what we have in common. We're probably outcasts of some sort.
We're probably the four most awkward characters.
in the show and in life.
And in real life.
So.
But I think that's, and I think it works really nicely.
Yeah, Elliot being the, you know, paranormal enthusiast, and he's so excited because we do have this avenue, Piper, that can actually legitimately communicate with these phenomena. But there's also some other motives at work also.
Elliot was one of the only person when Connor revealed, you know, I think my sister could talk to ghosts, who believed him. You know, it was that friendship. He's like, okay, I'll go to the ends of the earth. Let's go. Let's get in an RV. It's stinky. We got 5 people. We're living off ramen, but that's what I would do. That's what I do for my friend. You know, that was Elliot.
I love ramen.
Ramen's
Just
great.
side note.
Can we just do a ad for
Side
ramen?
note.
Everyone's
right now?
favorite flavor of
ramen.
ramen.
Are you guys from around here? Have you guys been to Daiku Kuya? Go.
Should we just do a little
From
ramen
downtown
run?
LA?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Little Tokyo.
Yeah. You know,
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.